Good morning, everybody. Um, it's now Monday. The weather's taken a little bit of a turn. We kind of got gray and dreary, and yeah. But you know what? It's not terribly cold. It's just wet. So I just wanted to come out and, after spending a little time contemplating and reflecting this morning, I just wanted to come on and say, I'm not even sure how to begin. Just share why I left healthcare. My soul's been stirring, and I've been really unsure since I started healthcare if that's really where God wanted me to be. But after going through college and starting my job, I found great joy in providing care for others. Like most people who join healthcare, we join it because we have that yearning to serve and to care, and we trust what we're being taught is correct. And it's not until we get into it, we start teaching and treating others, that we find out there's more than medicine and various treatments to heal somebody. There's a whole soul that requires attention. And so I struggle with that through my whole career. I've always wanted to do things by the rules, make sure we were compliant with what the state and government expected of us, and I've always been very honest. I don't know. I'm not a dummy. I think I've made myself very knowledgeable. I always said I'd be very, very good at stuff. Starting IVs, I was determined I was going to be good at that, and I was, because I forced myself to be, and I challenged myself to be. Anyways, I just wanted to get back to, since the nasty stuff has begun, since 2019, I've really, really struggled and tried to listen to what God had wanted of me and for me. It seemed every time I got into a position where I could make a difference, I was forced to choose between following the rules and providing the care God wanted me to provide. I skipped through jobs quite frequently because I just couldn't find something that filled my soul and that felt right for what God wanted. The last job I took, which was earlier this year, was with an organization I had worked for twice before, once as a floor nurse and once as a director of nursing. And I hadn't applied for this job. I didn't even know it existed. HR reached out and said, I want you for this position. That was a great feeling. Again, I hadn't applied for it. So I said, are you sure? I said, I know how things were. There was a rough time where a management group had come into that facility and attempted to purchase it. And the facility wasn't for sale. So they were fighting that, is what I was told. They were in place when I was the director of nursing. And unfortunately, I had a personal issue come up and left abruptly. I won't go into that. But so I was really unsure if that's where I was supposed to go. So I went to the interview. Everyone seemed bubbly, excited, And I thought, why not? Let's give it a try. It was in a position I had not filled before. I was unfamiliar with the rules and regulation that governed over this type of facility. It was an assisted living. So I told them, I'm going to need a lot of help and a lot of guidance. I had the nursing part down. I've been a nurse 20 years, 20 plus years, and I wasn't worried about that. But the administrator wanted me to learn the nursing part. I had the outgoing housing director for 3 weeks. I believe it was 3 weeks. Please don't quote me on that. And I needed to learn what she had, what she knew. And the administrator was so focused on me learning the nursing stuff. So what did I do? I spent the first 3 or 4 days doing education in the facility to learn the EMR because I was unfamiliar with it. I was unable to provide any resident or tenant care, I guess, in assisted living, their tenants, until I finished that. So I lost almost the whole first week trying to learn an EMR so that I could provide care. Things were so messed up at this facility. Aides were taking medications out of a locked office, but they had the code. The meds hadn't been checked, they hadn't been verified, they hadn't anything, but they needed it. So they came in, they took it and put it on the floor and dispensed it without a nurse being able to check those meds and make sure they were right for the resident and follow doctor's orders. Now, granted, they hadn't had a nurse in the facility for a while, but I would have thought the facility would have gotten an agency nurse in or somebody to make sure they were compliant and that safety was first. But they hadn't. They brought in a nurse consultant, but a nurse consultant is different. They're there to consult you, to show you how to make things easier and how to ensure patient safety. So she was doing her job. They were forcing her to do other things. And it was really kind of messed up. So for the first 2 weeks, I was trying to get us compliant, trying to get us safe, give the staff some semblance of leadership so they felt confident and comfortable and respected in what they were doing in the care they were providing. I wasn't giving any onboarding, no orientation, and to be honest, no tools to do my job, which was very scary, very concerning. So I was trying to self-teach and self-learn and apply the skills that I had to, again, make sure my staff was safe, make sure my tenants were safe, and make sure that when state came in, we were compliant. That's essential. Safety has to be first. My administrator in those 2 weeks never came to me, never asked if I needed assistance, nothing. I felt very abandoned. So that third week, as the outgoing director, is getting ready to leave, I finally get an hour or two with her. Very, very quickly learned her role so that it was now my role. And I went to the administrator in HR and I said, listen, I need some help. I know you were combining these two roles, the nursing and the director, but I need help. I need an RN. I can't do both. I can't learn both. I can't be good at either of my roles. And my administrator had the gall to say, I have a friend who I'm going to hire to be the director. I looked at the HR lady and I said, listen, did you not hire me for that position? Isn't that my title? Yeah, yep. She reassured me, and I'm not sure if they intended to put me in the RN role and hire a different director, or if the administrator was just that way out there that she didn't acknowledge what my role was. It was very confusing. So again, I got a very quick little ditty of what the outgoing director was doing, and it wasn't enough. Because billing was coming due, I had to get invoices out to the tenants so that they could pay for their services and their rent. I was given a very brief little instruction on how to do that. I wasn't told that the management group still had a part to play in that billing cycle, and how that was all to be incorporated into what I needed to do to ensure my bills got out on time. There's rules, there's regulations, there's policy procedure that one must follow or you're out of compliance. I had residents coming in to seek their bills. So I told the administrator, enough. I needed an RN, I needed a secretary, and I needed housekeeping, because they not only had inadequate staffing, I'm not sure even for how long, but housekeeping, they had my aides, I'm going to call them my staff because they were my staff for a very short time. They had my aides leaving a locked unit on overnights to clean floors because I didn't have adequate housekeeping staff. A locked unit is meant to have around-the-clock professionals in the unit 24/7. Safety. And the administrator just kept saying, you know what? Okay, whatever you need, but we're going to utilize the housekeeping staff we have. Fine. I don't care what you do, just get them over here because my staff cannot be leaving a locked unit. That's not safe. These people are paying good money to have round-the-clock care, and the staff are leaving in the middle of the night when they're most vulnerable to clean a floor that should have been done by housekeeping in the first place. HR posted for a nurse. They posted it as, I think, an OBG nurse. So when I found it online, I'm like, what in the world is this? No wonder I can't get any help. So I rewrote the job description, gave it back to HR, and I said, listen, post this and let's see what we do. We posted for a secretary. And mind you, HR wouldn't have posted this if I hadn't gotten the approval to do so. That's just not who she is. Again, I've worked with her 2 other times, and she follows policy pretty closely. She has to. It's her job. So she knew. We had all had a conversation. We sat down. I told them what I needed, and she got it posted. We interviewed a few people. And then I had 2 internal employees want to come work for me. They knew who I was. They knew my work ethic. They knew my expectations. They enjoyed being around me. They'd come visit me often. They were in the long-term care side and would come over because we were in the same building. They'd come over and talk and just enjoy being out of the stress. They sought something in me which they couldn't get from the administrator. And I see that now. So anyways, I talked to them. I found out what they were making. I put a note on the administrator's desk saying I was going to extend job offers to these 2 individuals. I needed an RN. I was going to hire an LPN. I needed a secretary, and she was a whipper, and she wanted to come work for me, and so I was going to offer her the position as my secretary. I was an RN, so I would have that covered, and I could learn my job as the director. She came at me so hard and so furious, wrote me up for not following the chain of command, but which I did. The only thing, I better back up just a little bit. I went to the board of directors because I could not get this woman to talk to me. I couldn't bring her anything that was concerning me because every time I approached her office, the conversation was shifted and went towards an issue she was having. She would not take time for me. She told me I needed to come to stand up every week. I was busy trying to figure out my job and to get my AL in order to be compliant, and she's worried about stand-up. I'm worried about staffing following rules and safety of residents when they take medications without them being checked by a nurse. I was trying to learn a EMR, and she was worried about a stand-up. But she took no time to come to me. She did not come to my weekly meetings, which she was supposed to be at, to discuss what was going on my side, as well as the independent living, which I had a manager who attended those meetings. I had social services at my meetings. I had therapy at my meetings, so we could discuss what's going on and who goes where. And I don't know, it's a little much, but if you know healthcare, you know what I was doing. But I went to the board because I said I need her to acknowledge that I'm here and I need help. And she hired me knowing that. And she has failed to give me any tools to be successful at my job. I heard that she was telling people I was the right person. I heard her telling people that I was doing a great job. But I didn't hear that from her. This is becoming a very long video, and I apologize for that, but I appreciate you hanging in there. But anyways, I had told the board, I don't know if he was the head of the board or who he was, that I needed her to support me and to acknowledge me and to include me in what was going on with the facility. I heard nothing, crickets from this woman for I think I was there 6 or 8 weeks. I don't even know how long I was there. But she kept saying, "Oh, we'll figure it out. We'll blunder through it until we figure it out." Kept trying to tell me she had a friend who she was going to hire as the director. Frustration. But anyway, so she brought me into the office, into HR, had written me up for not following the chain of command, not attending her stand-ups, not being a team player. And I was so angry. I was trying to have a conversation with her, explaining how when I would see her, I'd be interrupted, the conversation would change, and she kept speaking over me. Yes, I lost my temper. Shame on me. But when you're being attacked by someone who has no confidence in herself, who takes your ideas little and makes them her own and shares them with the facility as her own, demoralizes you, demeans you, belittles you, I was going to defend myself, and I did. And I walked out of that office and decided that God was telling me I didn't need to be there. He had other things in mind for me because I didn't need to be attacked. I'm a good person. I'm a hard worker. In 20-some years of nursing, I have never been personally attacked like this woman attacked me for trying to figure out my job by myself with no input from her. Never. And I am one who's usually pretty hush-hush, and I usually mind my business, and I get along, and I get things going. I acknowledge people for faults, positives, whatever, and I use those skills and talents to the betterment of the individuals we are caring for. This woman attacked me. I don't know if she felt intimidated, if she felt... I'm not sure what it was, but I couldn't stay there. I went to one stand-up meeting shortly after that. It was, one, I think, because I felt, well, maybe I should see what's going on. At those meetings, there's so many people there who should not be having a conversation or hearing HIPAA information about residents in an AL side when the majority of them were from the long-term care side. What I had to share was conversations that should have been had with the administrator, social services, and the director of nursing from the other side, not all the staff. This woman didn't know how to handle or conduct being an administrator. She just winged it. She took everybody's words and made them her own. She managed aides and nurses instead of sending them to their directors. The director of nursing left a few weeks after I did because she just did not value us. She didn't appreciate the knowledge that we had brought, and she never had one meeting with us. She wanted 2 individual service providers, AL and long-term care, to be under one roof. The problem is they can't be. They have to be separate. Yeah, we can be cohesive, but you have to be separate because our employees can't cross. They just can't. That's illegal. If someone from the long-term care side would come over to my side to work, they're abandoning their responsibilities and their job duties. And this woman just couldn't comprehend, and I couldn't have my license be put on the line for someone who doesn't know, first off, or someone who doesn't care, except to have a big ego and want to be the center of attention and look like she frickin' knew something. She's an absolute idiot. I'm not using names. I'm not using anything like that, any identifiers. She's a freaking idiot. So I left. I didn't give notice. I cleaned my office. Nobody even noticed. How sad is that? No one even noticed I had cleaned my office. And I walked out. HR looked at me dumbfounded, asked me what I was doing, and all I could do was say, "You sat there and did nothing. You knew I was right." I don't think I said that to her, but I just said I thought better of you. Handed in my keys and my badge, and I walked out. And you know what? Yeah, it's hurt. It's really sucked. Because I left behind vulnerable people under the care of that. I don't know what she is. But I think in the very short time I was there, I instilled within the staff who worked under me ethics and morals and goodness. And that's what keeps me going, is I know they will make sure those people are well taken care of. Or I hope so anyways. So anyways, just know the attacks are coming on good people, good God-fearing people. And again, in 20 years, I'd never been attacked like I was attacked by this woman. She told me during my interview, or shortly thereafter, I forget, that the management group who was there overseeing, she saw the devil in the gentleman who walked in the building. I felt that spirit in her. Yeah, she's still there. I maybe it's me. But you know what? I'm not going to keep questioning this anymore. I've got to lay this to rest because my life's good. Gloomy day and all. My life's good. And I don't have to stress over that woman smearing my name, my reputation, my being with her BS. I don't have to deal with it anymore. And that's freeing. And that gives me joy. So find your joy. It's scary. It's scary to walk away from something you thought, after 20 years you were unsure about, but you have made your own and you were good at it. You were so good at it. But that's following God's plan. And I think He had some divine intervention there. He guided what happened because He wanted me out of that situation. He wanted me out of healthcare. He wanted me to share. So there you have it. Not sure I'll go back to healthcare. I'm not sure I will. Security, money, we need it. But my soul's at peace outside of it. And I'm okay with that. I'm very good with that. All right, that's enough messing. You have a very blessed day. Again, life throws you curveballs. It's how you deal with them and how you bounce after. You're bouncy. God made you bouncy. Stay sweet. God bless.